Next is the Vickers light tank. This tank's pretty much a support. If you're going to be rushing with those heavy infantry, you're going to want to also push with the Vickers. If you're going to do some crazy, like if you're playing a 2v2 or something, you're going to do a quick camo net push up. So you do like a camo net in your base, then you do a camo net in the next sector ahead of you, and then you're going to put that barracks up in that next sector as far as it possibly can go to not breach that camo net, and then you start pumping out. You do the research on those heavy infantry, you pump a bunch of those out for $5, especially early game. If you make one barracks, it's only going to be roughly, I think, maybe $20 for the barracks, maybe 30 for the British, possibly 40, but I doubt it since it's a basic building. That's only $20. You buy 2 depots, 3 depots, you research for $25, you pump out like 5 to 10 heavy infantry, pump out a couple Vickers, and you're good to go. You can get that quick rush on. Possibly by the time all the units are done and ready to rush, you could actually just pump out that blitz possibly, or that radio silence, and get that actually quick attack in even faster, or even and secretly, so the opponent doesn't know. So that can actually be a very good strategy. Very early game, I see early game heavy infantry rush works so often, it's ridiculous, especially against newer players. Newer players usually don't know how to counter heavy infantry. They usually panic and they start spamming units, spamming the wrong units, and they get into big trouble very quickly, and their pretty much entire base will get taken over. That's why when you're playing new players, or if you're a new player, you got to get that recon out, because if you're going to get infantry rush and you don't see it coming, you are pretty much screwed, especially against heavies. If you do not see heavy infantry coming, you are already GG'd, pretty much over. In any of those close type of 1v1 battles, or in one of those maps like a 3v3 or a 4v4 map, or a 2v2v2, those kind of maps, if you play those for fun, if you're really close and you do not see that heavy infantry coming, you're pretty much screwed. You're going to be GG'd. They'll blitz you. They'll spam a crazy amount of heavies against you, especially for $5, and they'll take your entire base over in a matter of minutes, and then you're left sitting there scratching your head wondering what just happened to you. So Vigor's good support unit, but I wouldn't make a bunch of them. I'd rather just spam the heavy infantry. It's just good just to pretty much, it'll take some of the bulk of the fire against you. So pretty much the Vickers are just like going to be your meat shield, pretty much, for your heavy infantry to attack. Next you have the Bofors. Like I said in my other videos, I don't like Bofors that much. They're not that great. They shoot fairly slow. I need to have a ton of these things to actually be effective. They're not that great in my opinion. They have 550 meter range. They're $15 a piece. I believe the States has them for 10 a piece, but I could be wrong. Could be the same price. But Bofors is not the greatest AA gun in the game, but I believe they're actually the only gun that the British have early. Pretty much you don't need to make Bofors if you're gonna be going against air. Just research Spitfires and make Spitfires. You do not really need Bofors. Bofors are one of those maybe panic times where you see air coming and your air is in repair mode, or your air is across the map attacking somewhere, and then you're just like stuck. Maybe pump out some Bofors if you have, just to maybe guard your base or slow that attack down, so maybe they'll retreat and you'll be okay for the time being before you get those planes back to support yourself. So being an air country, you don't really need to rely on anti-air due to the fact that your planes are so much stronger than everyone else's. You can just pretty much just mass up your planes and dominate the sky, so you won't have to really worry about massing Bofors really. Let's see what the next, the Howitzer 87mm. It's fairly good. It's got a 1.2 kilometer range. That's 1,200 meters for you Americans who use miles. So 1,200 meter range. So it's fairly far range. It's got 17 damage to infantry. Like I said, I don't really know how it works. I don't know if 17 damage means. I don't know if 17 damage means every single thing that hits the opponent does 17 out of 400 damage. I have no idea how they made their unit structure, since there's no health bars on units. Like, none of these units have health bars, so you don't know exactly what their health is, but I'm assuming that resistance is the health. I don't know, if it's 400 and for infantry or tanks and stuff like that, then I guess 17s are pretty light, not too painful to take, especially if you have a bunch of infantry. But I guess maybe there's also that spread, since the land will round in the middle of a bunch of people, and it has that spread damage out, or that splash damage, sorry, I should call it. So maybe because it does splash damage, it's more effective. I don't know, but at 25 bucks early game, you can pretty much make a bunch of these early game if you're in those tight formations, like I said. But I wouldn't make a ton of these. Are not very good. Artillery is not the best strong suit for the British, except maybe the AV RE. That's about it. So yeah, $25, shoots 1,200 meters, 12 damage. But you can upgrade for $50 and get the, where's the other unit? The howitzer, 140 millimeter. It's $50 upgrade. I'll get back to the Sexton in a second. Just the way the other units I had down on the list, the howitzer 140 was next. So the howitzer 140 is 1,600 meters. That's 400 meter distance advantage. For 50 bucks and for $40, I don't know if this is really worth it, due to the fact that it only does 6 more damage per round than the howitzer 87 millimeter, and it's $15 more. If $15 plus the research costs for 6 damage and 400 meters is worth it to you, then go crazy and make as many as you want. But to me, 400 meters and only 6 extra damage is not a big buying point to spend that extra 65 bucks initially on this unit. So I pretty much wouldn't get it. It's only those mid-late game things when you're too far, you want to start shelling from a further distance, so you need to get that extra distance for yourself. But early game, there's no point to make these. I probably wouldn't even make these, to be honest, mid-late game either, because you can pretty much just mass up. You can pretty much make a Lancaster if you really needed to, and drop a Lancaster payload and take everything